How the heck are everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to my channel and welcome to a fantastic Dragonheir Silent Gods video. It's a brand new season, span new game. So with a span new game, we get a bunch of span new heroes. We have 30 new heroes in the game. So I figure I'm gonna do a two-part series where I'm gonna review all 30 new heroes in the game. And we're going to start off right now in just 1 second with our burn heroes. We got a nice handful of them. They seem really cool. I actually pulled a couple during my summon session, so go check that out if you haven't yet. Lucky enough to pull a couple epics. No legendaries yet on this account, but that just means we're working towards something big. But I think this could be a really interesting piece of content because I'm certainly no Dragonheir Silent Gods expert, not yet at least. But I would say in some respects I am a gacha expert and a hero collector expert. I've been playing these games for like 4 years in a very serious way. So maybe it would be interesting both to new and old players what my first impressions are. And maybe some of you can get in the comments and say comments I made that surprised you, or of course comments I made that were idiotic. And if you're not playing Dragonheir Silent Gods yet, feel free to use the link in the description, download this fun game, this beautiful game, and you can play right alongside me. But let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
So, hero reviews, you can open that gallery. They make it pretty easy, actually, because all the new ice heroes are the ice blast heroes. All the new fire heroes are the burn heroes. All the new lightning heroes are the lightning bolt heroes. So let's start with those flaming boys. We can just go here, we can sort by burn, and you can see we've got 8 new burn heroes. I'm going to try to go fairly quickly and just give like my gut impressions, but we will take a proper look at these kits. So you can see we have 3 legendaries, 3 epics, 2 rares. We're going to work top down. Start with the legendary heroes. First off, we have got Karf. He's the one-eyed, a cool-looking pirate here. Very much fits the Season 2 Athercairn Mysterious Islands theme. We can just go straight to the stats here, the skills, I mean. We got the passive here, Fish in Troubled Water, and all these are going to be burn heroes, right? So lots of burn, and we'll get to learn about burn and derivative fire damage. When the hero's skill hits an enemy inflicted with burn, deals additional derivative fire damage to the enemy and surrounding enemies. So a touch of AoE there, kind of like a splash damage thing. The damage modifier is attack. We can always click on details. You can see it's based off 30% attack and the derivative fire damage. But I think for this, just to keep it punchy, we're not going to go into details, but just know that you can toggle this on and on. One of my favorite things about the game, I won't name another game like Watcher of Realms or something, but some games don't give you enough information. Why not just have the vague version and the specific version? That would be very appreciated by nerds like me. Derivative damage, for anyone that doesn't know, damage generated by a specific skill, gains an enlightenment bonus but cannot trigger crit, so you can't crit on it. It's kind of like a true damage, you can think of it in other games. But instead of having that special thing where you're ignoring defense or ignoring some resistance, instead you're getting a bonus, and that's based off of your enlightenment. So you're going to want to build enlightenment on a hero that has any form of derivative damage. Let's go now to our battle skill. It's Marine Gunslinger, cool name for a skill. Strikes an enemy 6 times, so a nice multi-hitter here, each with fire damage, very appropriate. 35% chance of inflicting 1 stack of burn on them for 10 seconds. And you see here it's modified by attack and enlightenment. I presume, no, I was thinking that maybe because it comes from some derivative damage, but no, it's actually coming because there's derivative damage inflicted by the burn. So let's actually read that. We're not going to have to read it every time as we go through all 8 burn heroes, but we do want to have a strong understanding now. Invokes explosion at the carrier's position every 10 seconds. So it's dot damage, right? Damage over time, consuming 1 stack of burn and dealing 140% attack, and again, fire derivative damage. So that's going to scale off enlightenment, right? To the carrier, so whatever enemy you place it upon that's holding that debuff, and surrounding enemies. So that's that AoE splash effect, can add up to 10 stacks. So you can build a lot of stacks. So these are going to trigger every 10 seconds, and you could have 10 stacks. So you could have 10 triggers over that 10-second interval. Pretty cool stuff there. You can see you can get that chance up to 45%. You can get increased damage, reduced recharge time. I think the interesting thing there is that you have a 45% chance of triggering. So more often than not, you'll probably put out 3 stacks of burn. That's some good stuff. Captain, oh Captain, my Captain. That's a cute name. This is the ultimate. Bombards all enemies on the field 3 times, each dealing fire damage with 60% chance of inflicting 2 stacks of burn for 10 seconds. We can get that chance up to 75%. He seems like the kind of character you're really going to want to skill out. because you want as many stacks of burn as possible, because it's going to help his kit as we're learning right now. But without a doubt, as we get into the new heroes, I'd be shocked if there aren't going to be immediate synergies with the other burn heroes, where all the burn heroes are benefiting from as many stacks of burn as possible being on their enemies. So it seems pretty good here that it's going to be an AoE, but triple hitter. You know, he's got 6 instances of damage here, 3 instances of damage here, each with their own chance to inflict burn. So he's going to do a good job, I think, of, you know, being a captain, you know, oh captain, my captain, of a burn team, and putting out the debuffs that you need, getting that dot damage, but also ensuring there's burns out there to empower his fellow burn characters. So all in all, I'm pretty impressed by Karf. Without question, he will need to operate within a burn team. Probably can put out decent damage himself, but that's where he's really going to shine. So guys, the 30 new heroes in Dragonheir Silent Gods Season 2, Fall of Increscent, are not the only things that make it a brand new season span new game. On top of those 30 new heroes, we have new elemental affinity pairings, so now it's Fire and Necrosis, Ice and Radiance, Lightning and Poison. There are also new damage types. In this video, you're learning about Burning and Ice Blast. The next one, you'll also learn about Thunderbolt, as well as all the other new heroes. We have a brand new Kinsfolk. You're about to learn about Shana, my favorite hero in the game. She is a merfolk, which is part of the new Kinsfolk. We have new dungeon bosses, new equipment, new artifacts. There are new features to optimize your experience, including smoother early game, faster growth, seasonal benefits featuring 4th fairing summons, Season 1 reward shop, and Season 2 exclusive summoning pools. Lots of great stuff, guys, and as always, I'm gonna tell you, Dragonheir is now live on all platforms: Windows, Mac, Steam, and Epic, and both mobile platforms, number 1 iOS, number 2 Android. Some great stuff, so you can use my link to download the game, of course, and you can check out my 2 new promo codes. Those are going to be Dragon Season and Merry Xmas. Make sure you do Dragon Season all lowercase, Merry Xmas all uppercase, and enjoy. This is the guy, I talked about him very briefly in my first ever Dragonheir video. He looks so flippin' cool, man. You can't say the design in this game isn't good. He's got a captain skill as well, so that's an attack aura. I love an all battles aura. 3% all battles, I love that already. If it wasn't for Shana, he might be my favorite new hero that I've seen. That helmet's so cool. He's actually in my intro, in my Dragonheir intro to my video, so you can keep an eye out for him. So Ascatius, he's a burn hero, obviously. He's got that great captain skill. Now we got fire control. Basic attacks deal fire damage to enemies in the 3 adjacent tiles before the hero. Interesting. So this makes me sound like he needs to be a frontline kind of hero to get that. So whenever he does his basic attacks, you'll also get that kind of, you know, forward ranged adjacent 3 tile fire damage. When a basic attack deals damage to an enemy under burn, recharges ultimate energy by 5%. So this is where I'm saying they're all going to synergize together, right? So if you've got someone like, oh my god, what was his name? Grarf or Garf? Karf. If you've got Karf putting out all those burns, I'm sure Ascatius also puts out his own burns, then these heroes benefit from people being under burn, the same way as you're going to see with Ice Blast and Lightning Bolt heroes, right? So you get those debuffs under, and if he's hitting someone under burn, now he's getting recharged to his ultimate. And you know, everyone, you want their ultimate going up as much as possible. So it's going to have that ultimate up effect. Really good stuff. Let's go to Wrath of Lava. That's a pretty cool range on it. You got the little diamond. Reminds me, if you play Watcher of Realms, reminds me of like Dolores or something with that specific range. Deals fire damage to enemies within range. That range we just discussed. 75% chance. This goes up to a 100% chance of inflicting 1 stack of burn. So unlike oh my god, I forgot his name at Karf. Unlike Karf, it's not going to be like a triple AoE with when skilled up a 75% chance, but maybe you could get multiple stacks. This is going to be an AoE, and when you skilled up 100% chance to get that 1 stack. But at least that's assured, right? So that's a good thing. And yeah, 1 stack of burn, why not? With some good damage. Let's see, 350% attack. We like it. We like it a lot. Let's go to Detonation. Now we're talking about some exploding burns, if I'm not mistaken. Dispels all enemy burns and deals fire damage to them, so he kind of explodes the burn debuffs. Then blasts on all enemies with each enemy as the center, dealing additional fire damage to surrounding enemies. So another big AoE splash. For each stack of burn previously dispelled from the enemy, the damage dealt increases by 75%. That is tremendous. It can go up to 100%, or excuse me, 90%. This is very powerful. So this is going to make him a top AoE damage dealer in the game through this kind of, you put out a bunch of burns with a burn synergy team, you build a team around burn, and then he explodes those. I actually have an epic hero that does a similar thing. We'll see about him in a second. Moving on, we've got Durham, a floating dwarf with a frickin', what even is this? Some kind of crazy shotgun machine gun thing with a saber coming out of it. This is the crazy, I've never seen this here before. This is the craziest designed hero ever. Durham the Stout Beard. How about Durham the Flying Mechanical Dragon Dwarf? What is going on here? That's unreal. Let's go to Global Oversight. Yeah, he can get a good, from that upward angle he's got, he can get a good Global Oversight. Whenever an enemy's burn is dispelled, triggered, or expired, deals fire damage to the enemy and surrounding enemies. All right, so whenever a burn is either, you know, exploded by someone like Ascatius, it's dispelled for some reason, it triggers, he's going to do some nice AoE fire damage. Let's actually see that. 40% attack. Not too much, but that's going to happen a lot, right? Triggered, dispelled, exploded, anything. Now he's got Freeze Blaze, locks on 3 random enemies, and fires missiles at them. Each missile deals, or each missile, sorry, deals fire damage to enemies within range. 75% chance of inflicting 1 stack of burn. You can, again, get this up to 100%. So 3 random enemies, so it's not a proper AoE, but when you skill it up, it is going to be 100% chance for burn, and it's probably going to be some nice damage. 90% attack, it's all right. Finally, on to Red Horizon. I'm expecting big things here. Bombs the target area, dealing fire damage to enemies within range while ignoring 15% of defense of enemies under burn. So again, he's going to synergize really well by putting out burns on enemies. Now you're ignoring defense. That's strong in every gacha game. Also increases 25% attack up and crit damage up on all burn allies. This is what I'm talking about. So you build a burn team, he's only going to be buffing those burn allies. So if you can pull some nice burn heroes and you frickin' pull Durham the Stout Beard over here, it's going to be cracked. He seems super strong, and I like that he's got some damage, but also he has this kind of buffing support capability to help himself out, but also the burn allies. I love to see that, especially from like a strong legendary hero. So there's Aases. You can see these guys are lit up because I have them. But let's start with Zrax. What a name. He's a little goblin boy. That's a cute little man. So Zrax, another burn hero. Obviously, Joy of the Torturer, when the hero and summoned units deal damage to enemies inflicted with burn. So again, you want to put burn out, has a 75% chance of triggering blast. What is blast? Distills 1 stack of blast and triggers AoE damage dealt by burn once. So he's going to put out blast. Dispels 1 stack of blast. I feel like this must mean burn. The blast dispels a stack of blast. Maybe he puts out a stack of blast, and then that's going to trigger the burn. That's how I'm going to choose to read that. That's what makes the most sense to me. Maybe the details will help. Not at all. All right, Arcane Grenade deals fire damage to enemies within range. 75% chance. This is going to go up to 100% chance of inflicting 1 stack of burn. So a nice AoE way to get out burn. Let's check the damage here. Pretty solid damage, too. So he can put out some real damage, and he can get you that nice 1 stack of burn. So far, Karf is kind of the king of putting out many stacks with that triple hitter, right? 75% chance, not 100% chance, but he can put out multiple stacks. I think that's really important. Mystical Turret summons a self-made turret at the target location for 20 seconds. The turret will attack enemies within range regularly. What does that self-made turret do? Deals fire damage to enemies within range with a 50% chance of inflicting 1 stack of burn. That's really good. So whenever that thing's going off, so it's going to show up for 20 seconds. It's regularly going to go off. Unclear how long it goes off. It just says regular intervals. I wish they were more specific there. Maybe if I go to details, will it tell me? Doesn't look like it will, but this should be a great way to put out burn. So that's very, very good, and it's going to be an AoE attack as well. Seems like a very strong epic for a burn comp. Of course, he's not the one I have the other 2. So let's see how they stack out. Now we've got Aases, Loyal Guard. This guy is probably the one I was most excited about of the burn heroes I pulled. Increases all allies crit damage by 24% all battles. We love an all battles aura. Let's go. We've got Last Lineage. When hero deals damage to the enemy with a basic attack, 30% chance of inflicting the enemy with 1 stack of burn. So whenever he's doing his basic attack, there's a 30% chance, scales it up to 40% chance of just always putting out burn. Amazing for a burn team. His basic attacks can just be throwing burns out left and right. Fire Shell. Gains a shield for 5 seconds, then deals fire damage to enemies around the hero. So you're probably going to want him front line so enemies are near him. Around the hero for every 0.8 seconds for 4 seconds, right? So there'll be 5 triggers of that. Pretty strong. Let's actually see. They're saying attack, fire damage. I'm curious where this derivative damage is coming from, because I'm not seeing anything about burn or anything like that. Let's go now to Flame Domain. So here he's going to be a bit of an exploder, right? Flame Domain deals fire damage to enemies within range if the targets are under burn, dispels all burn, so basically explodes them. He's going to trigger them from them. Every stack of burn dispelled deals additional fire damage to them, and it's big boy damage, plus 220% damage. Really good kind of epic version here with some nice burn explosion, as I'm choosing to call it. So if I decide to build a burn team, which I could because I do have 3 burn heroes, Aases could be a great candidate. Then we've got Lyall. Can't tell if he's a dwarf or a halfling. Regardless, he's kind of cute. Lyall the Necromancer, he's got a captain skill, accuracy in all battles. Again, we love an all battles aura. Fire Frenzy for each enemy inflicted with burn on field. Again, burn synergies. The hero gains a stack of 5% attack up to 10 stacks, right? So if we can get 10 stacks of burnout, of debuffing the burnout, get that dot damage out, he can get a 50% attack up bonus from this Fire Frenzy passive. So he loves seeing that burn. So I'm expecting he himself does a lot of damage. Now we've got Screaming Fire Spirit, casts a fireball that can bounce between enemies for up to 5 times, dealing fire damage to enemies upon hit with a 75% chance of inflicting 1 stack of burn for 10 seconds. I like it. The fireball will prioritize enemies that are not inflicted with burn. That I like a lot. So he's going to put out burn, and then if anyone doesn't have, that's who he's going to focus on and make sure he can put out even more burn. Sounds really, really good for a burn team. Fire Booster deals fire damage to enemies within range and triggers blasts on enemies inflicted with burn. Similar thing like we saw before. So it's going to dispel 1 stack of blast. Again, I don't love that reading, but basically it's going to trigger AoE damage on all the burn stacks that we have out there. Really good stuff. I feel like this should read dispels 1 stack of burn. People can let me know. Bit confusing. He does blast by dispelling 1 stack of blast. I feel like this is a typo. It should say 1 stack of burn. Regardless, some nice AoE damage fits very nicely into a burn team. On to our 2 rares. So you see, I got Beegs. I don't have Percival. So let's start with Beegs over here. Another little goblin. He fits very nicely with Zrax. Demolitionist. Who doesn't love a Demolitionist? Light him up. Every 3rd basic attack is a 100% chance of inflicting 1 stack of burn. That's great. So if he's going at a quick interval, every 3rd hit, you know you're putting out burn. That's amazing. Now we got Beegs Incendiary. He's got a battle skill so good they named it after him. Selects an enemy and throws an incendiary at them and their sides, dealing fire damage upon hit. 75% chance goes up to 100% chance of putting 1 stack of burn on them. So another, sure way to put out burn. Seems really good for a rare for a burn team. Now we got Blasting Potion, strikes an enemy within range 5 times, each dealing fire damage with a 30% chance. This goes up to a 40% chance of putting burn on them. So single target, but a 5-hitter. So a really nice thing, kind of similar to Karf, where he's got the 6-hitter. Now we've got a 5-hitter for putting out some nice burn. I really like it. Finally, Percival, very cool design on Percival. I like that even the rares have nice designs in this game. He's got a captain skill. Not all battles. I almost got excited. All allies get attacked by 24%, but only City of Trials. It's good, but it's specific, right? Searing Brand, the hero's skill to 30% more damage to enemies inflicted with burn. So get burn, he's going to do more damage. You'll love that. Dance of Flames, strikes the enemy 3 times, each dealing fire damage with a 75% chance up to a 100% chance of inflicting burn on them. I like that. So it's single target, but triple hitter, which has a 100% chance. So 100% chance to land 3 stacks as long as you're landing your debuffs. That's really good. Skyfire grants 20% attack up to all burn allies. So I really like that. I love a support skill. Then attacks and deals fire damage to enemies within range. So he's going to do an AoE, but first he's going to do a global attack up to him and all his other burn allies. I think he's a great hero to wrap up the burn heroes with. Very, very strong. I'm actually quite a big fan of that. I think this is a cool thing. I think obviously you need to build a proper burn team, so you'll need 3 good burn heroes. I think you really would want Karf or Durham to make this whole thing sing. Ascatius seems like he'd probably be maybe the most potent damage dealer that we have, but you're going to want to put out burn. You're also going to want to be buffing your burn allies. For the buffing, Durham seems amazing. For putting out quantity, Karf seems unrivaled. But all in all 8 pretty fun heroes. I like the new fire heroes. I like these burn heroes a lot. All right, so now that the burn heroes, our new fire heroes, are covered, let's check out our new ice heroes, and those, of course, are going to be my beloved Ice Blast heroes. So we've got 7 of these bad boys, and you can see I do have 2 of them. I pulled Girthin and Bledin, and those are 2 of my better built heroes. Not saying so much for my account yet, but pretty nice. Let's just start with my #1 girl, that being Shana. I've talked about her many times on the account, so we can go pretty quick. You can see here, increases all allies attack by 45%, granted only for city trials, but that's super strong. You'll see what I love about Shana, similar to, who was it? Karf. She's really good, or not Karf, Durham. She's really good at supporting the other members of her team. Or I guess actually similar to Karf, because the way Karf put out a lot of burns, she puts out a lot of stacks of ice crystals, which are kind of like the burn equivalent for Ice Blast heroes. The way burn heroes have burn, Ice Blast heroes have ice crystals. So you'll see here, if the hero has ice crystals after casting a battle skill, cast it again by consuming 1 stack of ice crystal. When granting ice crystals to all Ice Blast allies, the hero will receive additionally 1.5% attack up that lasts for 10 seconds to all Ice Blast heroes. So there's some amazing support for everybody that can stack 10 times, right? So whenever she grants an ice crystal to anyone, that is going to give as well a 1.5% attack bonus that goes all the way up to 15% if you get 10 stacks of it. That is called Dirge. Here we've got Frost Whisperer, generates a frost bomb after a brief channeling, dealing cold damage to the enemy. Generates an extra frost bomb for each stack of ice crystal the hero has. So if she's got tons of ice crystals, she's doing bombs away, right? It's amazing stuff. I really love her. Each time a frost bomb hits the target, there's a 50% chance of granting 1 stack of ice crystal to 1 Ice Blast ally, right? So she's very generous in that respect. You can get this up to a 75% chance. And then the best thing about her is going to be her ultimate, Glacial Descent. Continuously cast the spell for 6 seconds. During this period, strikes a random enemy every 0.5 seconds, each time dealing cold damage with a 50% chance of granting 1 stack of ice crystal to all Ice Blast allies, right? So there's going to be 12 instances of this, because it's going to be 6 seconds with 2 hits a second. They're happening every half a second. So 12 times she's going to have a 50% chance. This goes up to 65% chance. At least typically she'll put out 6 stacks on everybody of ice crystals. That's super powerful. You can only stack up to 5 at a time. With that 65% chance, you're basically guaranteed you're going to max out at those 5 stacks. As we check out the other Ice Blast heroes, you'll see why this is so gosh darn powerful. It's super good. Shana is so good. Let's go to Beldel now. My favorite name in the game, Beldel. She's got a great captain aura here. It's crit damage, 30%, all battles. We love in all battles. Then we go here, Frost's Favor. If the hero has ice crystals after casting a battle skill, consumes 1 stack and casts the skill again. The effect increases this instance of skill damage by 25%, and she can stack up to 100% of the base damage. So whenever she's doing this, like if she had 4 stacks, she could keep going and she'd get 100% of the damage. That's very good. Now we've got Runaway Storm, deals cold damage to the enemy while ignoring their shield. Ignoring shields is always strong. Then the hero gains crit damage up for 5 seconds. So some more crit damage on top of the crit damage she'll already probably be giving from her crit damage captain aura. Finally, Frost Crystallization, time for some big damage. Strikes an enemy 3 times, each dealing cold damage with a 50% chance of gaining 1 stack of ice crystal. So this is selfish, right? She's getting it for herself. This can, actually the chance doesn't increase, but basically she's gonna do 3 hits. With every hit, she can put more crystals on herself as she has crystals with herself. Then when she does the battle skill, it's gonna keep going where she consumes extra attack, increases skill damage. It's more selfish than Shana, but it's very synergistic. There's nice synergies for herself within her own kit. Final legendary here is going to be Zorok, a nice tanky boy. Let's go here. His passive skill, Shared Faith. When an ally casts a spell that consumes ice crystals, the hero fires an icicle at the current target, dealing derivative cold damage. So we're used to our derivative fire damage from our burn heroes. Now we've got derivative cold damage with a 35% chance of gaining 1 stack of ice crystals. So he's going to do a little bit of damage. Let's look at the numbers there. 50% attack with that derivative cold damage. We're also going to get a bonus from the Enlightenment. Remember, it does not crit. And he's got just better than a 1 in 3 chance to give himself another ice crystal. Whenever an ally casts a spell that consumes ice crystals, I'd be curious to see in action if that also works for him. If he consumes an ice crystal, does that trigger his passive, or it's only his allies? Then we've got Ominous Retribution, fires an icicle at the enemy, dealing cold damage, and consumes all this hero's ice crystals. Every stack that he consumes launches an additional icicle. That's super strong. You'll see 1 icicle is going to have 105% attack and then 50% enlightenment. You could do this if he had 5 ice crystals, up to 5 crystals, right? 5 additional crystals. So it would be triggering 6 times, right? So if we do some multiplication, I guess this would go up to 7,500% enlightenment. and then this would be, oh my god, let's do some math, because it'd be the initial icicle and then the 5 additional ones if he consumed all 5 stacks. I think we would be talking 630% attack. So that's big boy damage. That really is. Then we've got Deadly Verdict, grants 40% damage up to all Ice Blast heroes. This is what I'm talking about. So this is more like Durham, right? It's a nice big global Ice Blast buff. Gonna last for 10 seconds. 100% chance of granting them an ice stack. You love it. An ice crystal stack. So they're all gonna get an extra crystal, and he's gonna give a big, damage bonus boost. 40%, that's very strong. Meanwhile, all Ice Blast heroes gain the effect of his passive. So they're all gonna be benefiting from this passive. They're gonna get the chance, whenever someone casts a spell consuming the ice crystal, that they're gonna fire this similar icicle based on their attack and then their enlightenment. It doesn't say enlightenment, but it's going to gain the enlightenment bonus, so that will be included since it's derivative damage. Now, let's start with Psyduck, because I'm actually used to Bloodin and Girthin now since I have them. If we go to Psyduck here, a cute little dwarf guy, I guess. This guy's adorable. Maybe he's a gnome or something. He's a maritime miner. I've heard he's actually pretty good, so it's unfortunate he's the one I don't have. Righteously Yours. If the hero has ice crystals after casting a battle skill, cast it again by consuming 1 stack. This is fairly typical. The next part, really good. 50% chance to ignore 30% of defense. Ignoring defense, always potent. Deadly Ice Crystal strikes the enemy 3 times, each dealing, we can turn details off, each dealing cold damage. The skill damage stacks by 10% each time the skill is cast, up to 10 stacks, and this is just over the course of the battle. So this is a long form stacking. So every time he's going off, eventually you can get it up to 100% increased damage here. Finally, we've got Cerulean Strike. I love Cerulean. That's a beautiful word. Deals cold damage to enemies within range. 75% chance goes to a 100% chance of gaining 1 stack of Ice Crystal. So a fairly selfish hero here, but he can do some nice damage. Let's see here. 720% attack. Yes, he can do some very nice damage. Good stuff out of Psyduck. Now let's talk. Bloodin is who I thought would be the big damage dealer of the 2 epics I pulled, basically just on how he looks. However, he's a very generous hero. He's actually, from what I've seen right now, maybe besides Shana, he might be the best at putting out ice crystals for him and all his allies. So let's look at Ranger Spirit, or first off, his captain skill. We love an all battle skill. Max HP, very strong, especially if you're struggling in content because you're not tanky enough. 24%. Then he's got Ranger Spirit. If the hero has ice crystals after casting a battle skill, cast it again by consuming 1 stack of ice crystal. We're used to that by now. When the hero's skill triggers a critical hit, and you're going to see there's a lot of crit built into his kit. I'm a poet. There is a 20% chance of granting 1 stack of ice crystal to 1 Ice Blast ally. So he's a very generous hero. Whenever he crits, this goes up to a 30% chance when you skill him up. Now, if we go to Tundra Archery, strikes the enemy twice, each dealing cold damage. Again, now this is what I was saying, he had extra crit in his kit. I love saying that, crit in the kit. He has a base 20% increased chance to trigger a crit. So 80% chance built on him, that'd be 100% chance. Really nice stuff. Double strike here. Now for his really nice skill, Winter Hunter, this is where he gets very generous. He grants 20% attack up for 10 seconds and 2 stacks of Ice Crystal to the hero and the Ice Crystal ally with the highest attack. So whoever your big boomer, like if you had a Shana or something, or if you had a, what was his name, Zoro, he would give them an attack buff, not just himself, but to them, and 2 stacks of Ice Crystal. Then strikes the enemy 3 times, each dealing cold damage with an additional 20% chance to trigger a critical hit. So that's really, really good. So you'll actually see when I have him in battle, he's putting so many Ice Crystals on the next skill we're going to talk about, Girthin. On a full team, it's going to be targeted towards the high attack hero, but he's really good at supporting them. Since I only run the 2 of them together, Girthin is reaping the benefits. So we've got an attack or a here. All allies attack in dungeon battles by 30%. Crystal trigger. If the hero has ice crystals after casting a battle skill, consume 1 stack of ice crystals, cast it again. That's the standard now. Upon obtaining ice crystals, the hero gains crit damage up, so she's a bit more selfish. Now, Heart of Frost strikes an enemy twice, each dealing cold damage. Then the hero gains crit rate bonus, again, a bit selfish. Gains 1 stack of ice crystal for her if she kills the enemy. So you want her hitting hard, and she does hit hard. Finally, Frozen Moment jumps towards an enemy, dealing cold damage and gaining 1 stack of ice crystal. So she's really good at giving herself ice crystals, basically, and she deals a fair amount of damage. Not the generosity I'm looking for, but it's still pretty good. Finally, we got Nord, who I'd be looking to get. He's a really strong, rare hero if you're going to run an Ice Blast comp. You can see here glacial support. If the hero has ice crystals after casting battle skill, we're used to this now. He's going to consume one and attack again. When the hero deals damage, 20% chance of granting 1 stack of ice crystal to the ice blast ally with the highest attack other than this hero. So a similar skill here to what we saw with Bledin. This goes up to a 30% chance. We love that generosity. Frosty Slash strikes an enemy twice, each dealing cold damage. Nice and simple. And finally, Raging Hailstorm. Deals cold damage to enemies within range with a 100% chance of gaining 1 stack of ice crystal. So he's really good. I like that his passive is constantly giving chances to share some ice crystals. I like when you're helping out the synergies with the rest of your squad and not just helping yourself. He feels like a rare. You know, things are a bit simpler here, a bit more based around damage, but I do like the generosity from the passive from Glacial Support. So the Ice Blast heroes, I just think they all look so cool. That's probably why I like them the most. Maybe slightly less interesting now that I've read through the burn heroes thoroughly, but all in all, I think 2 really nice new damage types of heroes. And, you know, we got these 7 new additions to our Ice hero catalog, and we got the 8 new additions in the burn heroes to our Fire hero catalog. So all in all, pretty cool. If you like this, there's going to be a part 2 where I go over the remaining heroes, that being our new lightning heroes. So those are all our new lightning bolt heroes. All the new lightning heroes are lightning bolt heroes. Then we'll have our necrosis, our poison, and our radiance. So pretty good stuff. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to play Dragonheir Silent Gods and enjoy Season 2 Fall of Increscent, make sure to use my link in the description to download the game. It is live on all platforms. Also, use my 2 new promo codes. That's going to be Merry Xmas, all capital letters, and Dragon Season, all lowercase letters. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.